How to reduce stress effectively. On Part 1, we will talk about basic things to know about stress. There are various levels of stress that is generally suffered by anyone at one point of their lives or another. Unfortunately, stress levels have increased in current times, and almost everyone at any age seems to go through this condition more frequently. Get all the info you need here. Responding to stress. Responding and being able to cope with stress is what most people today are looking for, and thus it would be worth exploring how to respond to stress in the quest to gain some control over this negative effect, and get back some semblance of peace in the everyday life cycle of the individual. The body naturally reacts to any indication of stress, and most times this response is not healthy and often fatal. When the body is challenged by any condition that it considers being under stress, it will kick in the natural responses that would require it to sort out the problem as quickly as possible in order to normalize the overall conditions. Where does stress come from? It is perhaps an accepted fact that stress is usually brought on by outside forces. This is so ingrained in most people's mindsets, that the slightest inconvenience or signs of being pushed out of the comfort zones will get some negative reactions from the body, and that would be considered stress. Generally, outside forces are blamed for the internal turmoil that stress is supposed to cause. Your first step in managing stress. Managing stress adequately would require the need to first be able to identify the main causes of the presence of stress within the confines of the individual's life. When this has been identified, then the relevant steps can be taken to address the stress-inducing circumstances. Some of the more common signs of stress are nervousness, withdrawal, constant tiredness, frequent headaches, increased use of alcohol, smoking and other unhealthy habits, an unexpected loss or increase in the diet intake or body weight, restless sleep and irrational emotional outbursts and behavior patterns. The idea behind managing the stress is all about gaining control over the stress, which should be to identify and address the possible causes of the stress, and then work towards ways to overcome it effectively. Once the symptoms can be identified and linked to stress condition, then the proper approach can be matched to the symptoms to improve the situation. This would require the individual to have a clear plan drawn up which would be based of combating the stress occurrences with very practical and proven methods. These methods may include the use of a proper diet, exercise or the actual physical change of environment. Easing your tension to reduce stress. It is popularly believed that if an individual is not exposed to the stress-causing circumstances, then the occurrence of the stress will be very unlikely and therefore not a dominant factor to contend with on a daily basis. This has some truth to it, but it is not always possible to avoid or remove oneself from a circumstance that will eventually cause the stress to surface. One of the ways that is recommended by most experts on the subject of stress management is to ease the tension and in doing so bring the stress levels under adequate control. The following are some tips on how to ease tension and reduce stress levels significantly. 1. Rest. This is considered a very important ingredient to have in the makeup of an individual's lifestyle. A lot of rest will give the body and its various systems time and the leeway to rejuvenate adequately. 2. Relaxation. The individual should explore various ways to relax both the body and the mind. These ways should be easy and applicable to the situation at the time. 3. Pacing oneself. This is also another method of ensuring the tensions are eased or even preventing it from surfacing altogether, if the individual is able to pace the workload to keep it from becoming too overwhelming. You need a quiet mind to think clearly. There are some people who turn to the practice of quieting the mind through various different methods, of which meditations come out as the most popular. This method is usually practiced for the specific purpose of helping the mind to distress and take on a more serene and quiet thought process. Meditation is often recommended for those who are hyper in the way they approach any task or project, and then get stressed when the various aspects of the endeavor does not play out as desired. This will put the individual in the panic mode, which almost always is a big stress-inducing feature. Meditation can be practiced in many different ways, and through the various ways the practice of the quieting of the mind would be the most dominant one. Thank you for watching the first part of our series. Hope you learned something from it. Subscribe to our channel to watch the next part of this series. Don't forget to like and share this video.